Hello heisters, it's Cobra here with the top 5 things Payday 3 needs, in my opinion of course, to strive and grow in the future, and to maintain a consistent, solid player base that keeps coming back for more with its new and improved systems. This is a top 5, meaning these are ranked from least needed to most needed, in a hierarchy based on my opinion of course, and I'm specifically dropping this video just before DLC 3 Land of the Free or Houston Breakout comes out, to kind of flesh out the things I think we need in the future despite what's coming now. Lastly, before we get into the top 5, I want to credit MrBullseye with the inspiration for making this video. I've watched his top 10 problems holding back Payday 3 video that came out 4 months ago recently, and he inspired me to make this video since his is slightly outdated with solo mode, but anyways, his channel and video will be linked in the description, so let's get started. Number 5. Armor system revamp. Starting off with the least needed thing that's still needed. We have the armor system in need of a revamp, or at least some major changes. I'll start this by saying Payday 2 had infinitely regenerating armor. Payday 3 has one type of infinitely regenerating armor, and it's not fully regenerating always, just as long as you don't let the plate get completely broken. Overkill can do a multitude of things. One is making a skill that makes every armor regenerate, maybe in expense of a 30% faster break rate or something else, and then introduce an armor that will truly be infinite and regenerate from zero, but only have one plate, which I personally think could stir up the meta and be interesting to build around. But that's just one of many things they can do. Most players want a full rework for everything or just a Payday 2 repeat with the armor system, but I think they can do it on a smaller scale and make it so people enjoy the current system and like what they're doing, instead of just shoving a system people don't like down their throats. One way or another, the meta is clear right now, with almost everyone using purple regenerating armor and a few people running the 4-plate armor, so this system calls for some serious changes and major tweaks if they want it to change in the future. Number 4. More skills. This is the first thing on this list that ties into the more replayability aspect, which is undoubtedly Payday 3's biggest problem for casuals and hardcore players alike. They can start making a change with introducing new skills which will increase the build variety with every weapon in the game, since every gun just goes into one of two categories right now, which are hipfire or ADS, and then you're forced to grab edge by swapping guns or edge by scoping in respectively. More skills will make everything more enjoyable and increase the replayability by giving us multiple ways to approach situations and builds before the game even starts. But, and this is a big but, it will make everything easier if they're not careful with the balancing, which is something they definitely don't want with the amount of people complaining that the game is already too easy. So when introducing new skills, they must be wary and not make them over the top OP for the sake of the meta. As a whole, introducing new skills is a way to change things up and add a lot more spice to the game with the replayability aspect, which is something I've mentioned more often from here, since as I mentioned earlier, this is the major problem with Payday 3 at the moment, almost a year into its life cycle. Number 3. Server browser / CrimeNet. Every Payday 2 player can recall their first time getting into the game and click on play online and being introduced to CrimeNet, the live network of criminals looking to heist with other random thieves online. This immersive, unique system has been replaced with quick play. I don't need to tell anyone how soulless this is compared to a website with lore explanation that lets you find ongoing crime sprees that require your assistance now. CrimeNet always had a special feeling to it, with how you select contracts given to you by different people, then briefing you with a short cinematic of them that can show the character off before you see the payout and click confirm to start your robbery. I will say that if we get server browser that's not CrimeNet, it will also work just fine. I just personally always thought on how special CrimeNet is to Payday as a franchise, not just a simple server browser that lets you pick your heists more carefully and display the difficulty, which heist, stuff for loud, and other stats will do the job just fine. I've already explained why this is important, but let me further emphasize how important it is, since I put it over armor revamp and more skills, which are two other, more gameplay focused issues. Armor revamp is a problem often talked about, and more skills is always something people will want. But since launch, people have been begging online for CrimeNet or something similar, since quick play is just not enough. It's better than nothing, but it still leaves a lot to be desired. Finally, I will also say this will make the UI slightly less cluttered, and again, way more immersive. Number 2. More guns. Just like more skills, this will greatly enhance the replayability of everything in the game. I can see myself playing the same heists more with just different guns, because if I'm being honest, the current selection just doesn't do it for me. As I mentioned earlier, all guns fall under one of two categories, hipfire or ADS, which really helps my case on why we lack variety in the guns department. More guns means fun making builds around them, playing with them, and just like other games like Call of Duty, in FPS games your character is pretty much your gun. You don't have much else. We severely lack variety, and that's why this is number 2. Above everything else up to this point. It's the most prevalent and needed thing, except for number 1 of course. Lastly, this also counts for overkill weapons. We need things like a machine gun, a flamethrower, a goddamn rocket launcher. There's much potential to make that bland system into something that's more worthwhile paying attention to. Number 1. More heists. Well, everyone knew this one was coming, didn't you? We need more heists, plain and simple. Heists are the core of everything and add the most replayability, which is exactly why they're at the number 1 spot. They're the biggest solution to Payday 3's biggest problem, and they're the catalyst to everything basically. They give flavor and reason to keep playing the game consistently and keeping it fresh and varied, because with nothing new, everything gets boring and stale very quickly. I finished writing everything I had in mind, but it seems like I haven't explained enough how important more maps are. I just hope everyone, including the devs, realize why this should be the biggest priority. The only reason Payday 2 survived as long as it did is because it has 84 heists you can choose from. I barely play 30% of those, but with how Payday 3 works, I can see myself playing every heist often, because even with maps like 99 boxes, I still play them, because Payday 3's mechanics are actually fun compared to, for example, Payday 2's loud mechanics, which are borderline annoying on harder difficulties. So please just make more heists to discourage players from no-braining the same heist over and over and over. Before the video ends, I have an honorable mention, which is everything quality of life. Basically a few minor things that will make the game flow and play better. So for you console fellas, my console using friends suggested I shove this in here. Overkill, let them read PC chat and add voice chat for both PC and console. It's crazy it's not in the game yet. Another big one is being able to change your loadout when restarting, just like in Payday 2. Because quitting the match and starting it up again with those queue times just to swap your loadout shouldn't be a thing. Vote kick is also something that should have been here since day 1, because of the trolls and people looking to ruin other people's days. We also could use some UI changes. People really don't seem to like this one, and they could add things to it, like for example amount of bags secured or how many bags are left on the map. They can use Rhino UI for inspiration, since a lot of PC players seem to enjoy that one a lot. And last and probably least, loot value when depositing bags, which sounds really stupid, but honestly I'm surprised it's not in the game yet. Oh, and also I just remembered we need renown level to be displayed next to your name in the lobby. And there are various other quality of life features that can be implemented to make the game feel more alive. Thanks a lot for watching, and again, this is my list. I hope you agree with it, but at the end of the day it is my opinion of what we need for people to start enjoying Payday 3. But anyways, please consider leaving a like and a sub if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.